The guy who see,
You're
I'll tell
live
you
now.
later.
Yep, you are live.
I'll tell you later.
Negative K, nothing further, just Kitty Candy in the corner. That's a direct order. Do it now.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, June 26, 2025. We're roll call, black, white, and blue for better relations. I'm here with a few of my friends. I have D with us. I have AC. I have Dave. I have Cheech. I have JT, Rich, Tyrone, Mark, and Jim Cannon. Um, Before we move forward, we want to have a moment of silence, intro and a moment of silence, and then we're going to have a disclaimer coming from Cheech and the statement of purpose coming from Rich. Cheech.
Good afternoon, everybody. D, thank you for that. As always, that is very emotional. Before we get started, we wanted to go over a couple of things. We want to let you know that the comments made by members of Roll Call are the opinions of each individual. They are not intended to be any type of legal advice, recommendation, or suggestions. Please consult with your local police department or local attorney. You have to remember that the laws change from village to village, city to city, state to state. So consult somebody local for any questions you may have. Also, once in a while, we will display videos that may be graphic in nature. We use these to spark our conversations and discussions. These videos or photographs are not the property of Roll Call. We get them from social media like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. So you have access to it also. Someone from the panel will give you a notice if we are going to display something that might be graphic in nature, to give you time to look away or not see it. Also, we want to let you know that the language used by members of Roll Call is very spontaneous. It is uncensored, and it's not intended to offend anybody. You will see that we may have discussions where we don't agree with something and we have different views, but we never take it personal. And we hope that you don't. Also, if you have any questions, regarding any topic that we are on or viewing, please put them in the chat, and somebody from the panel will try to get to you and respond to your questions and comments. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. We're roll call Black, White, and Blue for Better Relations. We're a pro-law enforcement group. We're for equitable policing. We're against racism and Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheech, and thank you, Rich. Before we go any further, I just want to say we're still praying for Jamel and Sharon. They're doing okay. They're just dealing with a situation right now. We're keeping them in our prayers. We're praying for JT and his wife, Orlando, with a few health issues. Praying for them. Rich and Isabel. Rich lost a brother-in-law, I believe, and then his wife lost her mother, which is his mother-in-law. So they're dealing with that. Cheech and Anna with a couple of health issues as well. Mark Matthews with a few issues himself, but we're praying for him. I know one being his shoulder. Got to get a MRI or something. I know that's one issue, but we're praying for Mark as well. We're praying for my wife, Sylvia Butler, who lost her aunt on Monday. Her aunt's down in Atlanta, not the one you know, Derek, in New York, but the one in Atlanta. And we're praying for the immigrant workers. That's what our good friend Dave, was on his heart today, to just pray for these immigrant workers that's getting snatched up by ICE from just doing their job and helping out these United States of America, but they're getting snatched up just because. So we're praying for them as well. We're praying for the family of Carolyn McCarthy, who's a congresswoman here from Long Island, New York. She passed away, I believe was it today she passed away? She just passed away at the age of 81. So we have a whole lot of, she was an advocate for gun control, and so we're praying for her family. All right. I believe that's all I have to get us started with. If anyone else has anything, just let me know. We can go from there. If not, let me just say this as well. Thank you guys, because last week I was in Montgomery, Alabama, and I could not be on the show because I was in a conference all week, and you guys held it down. That's what I like about this, because there's more than one person that can do it. They only need me to set it up and get us on Facebook Live. Other than that, this crew runs itself. And anyone on this crew could facilitate and lead this conversation. And I want to thank you guys for doing that and participating in there, because, every once in a while we all have something to do. We all have family obligations and things we have to do. So let's just pray for one another, and I want to thank each one of you. Jim, it looks like you want to get us started, and I'm going to let Jim get us started.
Yeah, this whole situation with ICE is coming to a very dangerous point in American history. Not to get into a history lesson, but our entire country was founded on the basis of people's rights, the individual right of every person on American soil to have inalienable right of justice. It's not happening right now. It's not happening. But what I'd really like to talk about and like to hear everybody's input is the relationship between local police and ICE. Now, I know every state, and maybe, in fact, every county, because Nassau County and Suffolk County here on Long Island are different, that every local department has a different procedure on how they're dealing with ICE. And I'll give you two examples, and then I'd like to see some of the discussion on how you guys think this should be handled. In Nassau County, the police are actively supporting ICE. Now, what that means is that if ICE needs local police to help them apprehend who they believe is an illegal immigrant, the Nassau County Police will assist them with that apprehension. Now, we're not talking about somebody that has a warrant, because ICE, being a federal agency, does not have to divulge to any local department anything about warrants or anything about probable cause. All I have to say is, I want that guy right there. And Nassau County's procedure with their local police is they'll assist them. Suffolk County, on the other hand, is the opposite. Suffolk County has as their procedure, they will not get involved in any of the apprehension or investigation of ICE as it relates to an illegal immigrant. They will respond to keep crowd control and safety for both the ICE agents and any kind of interference from civilians. So that they'll respond to, but they will not get involved in those apprehensions. The question that keeps coming up is, and I think we read it every day in the paper, that ICE agents are not even identifying themselves when they're making these apprehensions. They're coming in with masks on, the word police over here, no identification, no warrant, no anything, unmarked cars. They come, they jump out, they snatch somebody. So the question is, how do these individuals get protection from their local law enforcement if local law enforcement is either A, helping put them in the back of the car, or the other kind, B, hands off. We're not going to find out whether they have a warrant or who they are. Either way, an innocent person could be thrown into a backseat of a car and apprehended against everything this country stands for. And it's only getting worse. And I've talked to many police officers about this, and I hate to say it, but they're just fine with the situation as it is right now. And I know they're going to be sorry, because they're going to get dragged in, whether they like it or not, to this whole mess. For anybody that thinks that only criminals or only MS-13 are being apprehended, are wrong. They are absolutely wrong. People are being apprehended based on anonymous phone calls, tips, and all other kinds of reasonable suspicion or not reasonable suspicion. It's turning into a disaster. It's turning into a quota system. He wants X number of people deported. We're at the cusp of the entire American justice system being overturned, and we're going to be in a police state. And Tyrone, I don't even think he needs martial law. I think this is turning into a police state without martial law. So I'll just throw it out there, Don, and see if we could discuss some of that.
Well, you just discussed a whole lot. Let me just say this real quick. David Van Cleef says, is one county red and other blue? No, they're both red. That's one thing. They're both red. And this one, I'm coming to you real quick, Ty. This is what I'm saying, and I'm going out on a limb on this. I'm going out on a limb. This is what I think is going to happen. ICE is going to run up on the wrong person. And they're going to run up on the wrong person that legally has a weapon. That's probably law enforcement that thinks they're getting carjacked or robbed, and going to use their weapon to defend themselves, not knowing who ICE really is. I would hate to see it, but I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. And I believe that that's what's going to happen sometime in the near future, because you're going to run up on the wrong person, and that person is going to be like, listen, I was in fear of my life because there was no identification. They come up there with masks on. And listen, and I hate to say this too, they will, the cop will get over if the ICE agents are black with a mask on their face instead of white. Because in New York, most of you guys will probably know, they wore what they call murder ones. You remember that?
Yep.
They called them murder ones. JT, I know you remember that. There was a mask that would cover most of their face. and they call. I don't know why they call them murder ones, but that's what they were called. And most time you saw someone with a murder one, you went to the other side of the street anyway.
Right.
You know, so that was just what I believe is going to happen. Tyrone.
Right quick, I'm sorry, guys. Hey, everybody. So, Jim, I agree with you. It's already a police state. He's going to be happy with that. But I don't think a police state will keep him president. That's why he needs martial law. Martial law is a federal thing that gets done, and once they invoke that, they cannot remove him as president until martial law is resided. I agree with you 100%. And Donald, you're right, man. We're opening a scene with 3 ICE agents dead on the ground and a cop with his detective badge sitting down on his chest when they get there with his gun loaded on the car and say, yeah, these 3 guys trying to rob me. I killed them. And then they'll find the ICE agent. That's going to happen, Donald. I see that in the future, for sure.
I'm telling you right now, it's going to be somebody who's ready who has had enough.
Yeah, man.
And I listen, I don't know what you're doing. I got my kids in this car. I got my wife, got my family in this car. I'm protecting my family. All right.
That's if he's alive to tell that story.
That too, but still, even if he doesn't get to tell that story, they'll find out it was a cop that was probably protecting himself, and it will be something for everyone else to use. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll start thinking about how we're going to really start enforcing this. You know, let me go with I got a list: D, Dave, Derek, Cheech, and Melba. I got the list.
All right. Let me. I'm gonna try to go really quick. I got a list. I wrote down about 14 to 15 things when it started. I didn't know you were gonna go there, Jim, because we could have started out with a video. But let me go for a little bit of history. We think law enforcement is not linear. Law enforcement works from the top down. If you're a federal law enforcement officer, you need local law enforcement. There's no way for you to be effective in your job without state, local, city, village, town, constable. You need local law enforcement. The idea that the feds can come into Hempstead and just do something, those of you that worked in Hempstead, that ain't gonna work. Because once people start calling, you guys show up. There's a word called deconfliction. There's a word, whenever we did anything anywhere, no matter what jurisdiction we were in, you had to do a deconfliction. Everybody law enforcement wise had to know what was going on. And I'm gonna go a step further, had to be on board with it because it's gonna cause all kinds of problems. Let me go quickly. I don't want to take up too much time. Just really quickly, the mass situation I want to deal with. And then I think I'm going to stop here. First of all, having done thousands of entries, there's only one reason you should be wearing a mask, ladies and gentlemen. There's no other reason I'm trying to hide my identity. That never comes up. That's not a conversation we as law enforcement officers have. There's only one person or 2 people on the whole stack that might be wearing a mask because they were in an undercover situation. And they are part of the situation where we needed their input. They had to be there, but they didn't want to get discovered. That's the only reason. Stop right there. Whatever you want to talk about, that's the only reason you should have your face covered. You shouldn't have the insignia of whatever agency you're working for, whatever agency you're working with should appear on your jacket. As a supervisor, you don't go out in all black with, I don't know what you guys call them, murder mask. You can't go out with my team like that. You're not going, grab a jacket because we got to know who's who. So we've graduated because we're out of, let's understand quickly, we're out of law enforcement. We're out of law. We're out of right and wrong. That's why we're here, because all of those things don't fly. If you're a law enforcement officer and you're allowed to wear all black clothing, cover up your face, and still do law enforcement work, where does that work? I've looked at my 32 years. I tried to go in my brain. That can't work. If you were in an undercover or surveillance or covert position, your first rule of thought was what? I got to get the uniforms there. I got to get the uniforms there. We don't jump out of the car, police, 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 because that's why you have friendly fire. in cop on cop situations. You don't. That's step number one. You wait for the uniforms. We go on raids. There's a uniform in front, uniform in back. The uniform's got to be there. So I'm not gonna go through the rest of my list. Let me cross it out because I could be here all day. But it's because of where we are. For me, that's not law enforcement. I've worked with ICE agents. That ain't law enforcement. If you jumping out of a car covering up your face, that's not law enforcement. And Don, you were right. I wrote your name down here. You are absolutely right. Because you are going to. Now, not even you may. It's going to happen. I'm just waiting. I'm watching the news as we speak. Mm-hmm. You're going to run up on the wrong person.
It's going to happen.
And you're going to get your ticket punched. Because I don't know who you are. We all know that's the conversation. My supervisors, please raise your hand. Mark, get in here. I don't know who you are. Runs the day. White, black, and different. We can have that conversation. But at the end of the day, you run up on me with a mask on, cancel Christmas.
Yeah. You said it loud and clear, Dave. Let me hear what you got to say, Dave.
Yep. All you guys said the right thing because I think it was down in Virginia last week. White guy was dressed up, was looking like an ICE agent with no insignia, no nothing on. Okay, pulled out a couple of Latino brothers and sisters out of the store and robbed them. Okay, now I agree with all y'all because I'm saying my youngest son Marcel was talking to me about this shit, and he said, "Dad, what if they run up on you?" I said, "Well, somebody gonna die. Probably gonna be all of us, but I don't know who they are." Okay, and I was a robbery detective, a plainclothesman, and a regular detective, suit and tie. Whenever we had official business, we put that damn shield on the outside of your jacket. Okay, especially the black detectives, because you don't want to walk up to somebody's home and they not know who you are. Okay, and by the way, that shield means nothing because we had to carry our ID cards. If somebody asks, "Let me see your ID card," then I know you're a detective. You got to show it to them. And now Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, fucking lied to Congress the other day. She said she wasn't aware of ICE agents wearing masks. That's the straight fucking lie. You don't watch the news? You know what I mean? And then there's one brother, he was an ICE agent. He had his shit covered up to his damn eye and he had black shades on. I said, man, now tell me if he rolls up on me, a fucking D or Donald Butler, what's going to happen?
He'll get shot.
Okay? I don't know who the fuck he is, and I live down here in Maryland, D.C. area. You know? I want to go home and eat. Shit, drink a beer or something. I'll just pop his ass and worry about the consequences later. You know? And then they pulled that shit last week at a professional baseball game. They called up the Dodgers and said, listen, we want access to the stadium. Dodgers said, get the fuck off our property. They wanted to go in the stadium and lock up fans watching a baseball game.
Oh, my goodness.
You didn't? Yeah, Magic Johnson and them said, fuck no, y'all ain't. And got escorted off the property. All 10 of them. Yep. And I'm like, this is fucking disgraceful, man. talking about we got to protect their identities. Shit. When we was cops and plainclothes, nobody protected our fucking identities. We had to show our faces, and we better have a decent haircut or something. Come on. But this shit is fucking ridiculous, man. You snatching people up with a fucking mask on, refusing to pull out your ID or anything. Okay, you walk it up. You know, you walk up with the room. I'm telling you right now, y'all are right. It's going to happen, man. It's going to be ugly, too. Okay? You do that shit in PA, everybody's strapped. Even old ladies in church. Okay? Pittsburgh, everybody was strapped. Open carry. Anywhere you want to go, everybody's strapped. Walk up on them with that bullshit. Or somebody just cash their Social Security check. See, this shit is outrageous, man. This is Russia. This ain't no damn. This is fucking Russia. When Putin sends those guys out with a mask, they be throwing people out the damn window over there if they don't agree with his government. This is exactly what that is, man. And it's a damn disgrace. And these Supreme Court justices are full of shit too. Okay, allowing him to still send people out of here to different countries they know nothing about, locking them up in their jail systems. This is bullshit. And this is why I always stress we have to vote. I'm done.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Listen, I felt you. And listen, let's just let those who are listening to us, we are not promoting this. This is just what we see, because we don't want it. We definitely don't want law enforcement hurt, harmed, or killed for doing their job. But there's a way to do this job too. And we're just saying that, listen, the way it's being done is not safe at all for either. For law enforcement or the community, it's not safe. But I don't want to say too much because I have a list of people who got something to say. I got Derek, Cheech, Melba, and Rich.
All right, and Dave, you were spot on about Pam Bondi being a liar, because the commander of the ICE agency held a news conference. He held a news conference stating why he wanted his people to disguise themselves. And he said it was because they were being recognized and their information and their family's information was being put out on social media. So be it. That's part of the job. You can't run up on people masked, disguised, whatever, and have your identity completely unknown. And this isn't the first time it happened. It actually started happening during the George Floyd protest. But I think as far as what Jim was saying about the some of the departments not being willing to help, and some of them are willing to help, I think ICE is doing what a lot of police officers and some departments have always wanted to do. They literally want to be at war with the people in the community. And obviously some of them because of race, some of them not because of race, some of them are just power hungry people. You can see, like, if you see any of the videos of the car stops that are on YouTube, some of these cops are just power hungry and they want to be at war with the people in the community, or they just want to be tyrants and have the people bow down to them. But I think Suffolk County has the right idea by staying out of it. I also think martial law was brought up, and I don't think Trump is going to use martial law yet. I think that's his trump card to remain in office when his term is expiring. So if he was to do it now, he couldn't keep martial law in effect for, another 3.5 years. But I think that's something he's going to use to try to remain in office when his term is expired. And as far as these ICE agents covering their faces, I read a story back when the George Floyd protests were going. There was a gentleman that was walking along the sidewalk. There were protests going on, and he was snatched. A van pulled up, some guys jumped out with masks on. They snatched him, handcuffed him, roughed him up, threw him in a van, and took him to a building where he felt like he was going to be processed for arrest. He was locked up in a room, handcuffed. They never did anything. But what they did was they took his cell phone, they took his identification, his money, they took his keys, they took all of his belongings. He was in this room overnight, and the next day he was put out of a side door into an alley without his belongings. And he didn't have the keys to get in his house. He didn't have money. He didn't have his phone, and he had just started a new job. The phone number for the job was in his phone. He couldn't let them know he wasn't coming in. He lost the job. He couldn't get in his apartment. Eventually, he ended up walking however many miles it was to get home, and he ended up calling a locksmith just so he could get in his house. But they took all his belongings. They put him out the next day with nothing. And he was not part of the people that were demonstrating. He was merely walking down the sidewalk. So this has been going on for a while, but these ICE agents, they want to be cowboys, and there are plenty of cops that want to be cowboys with them. And they'll be willing to help them as long as their department permits it. And some of the departments are going to permit it. And that's all I have.
Terrible. Cheech, Melba, and Rich.
Yeah, I agree with everybody 100%. This has become a numbers thing. All right. It began with saying that you were going after criminals. They got pretty much the majority of the criminals that they wanted to get. But now you need to show the public these high numbers that you said were all criminals in this country, which is not true. So you tell the public that you arrested 1,000 more illegals, you know, but you're not telling them what their status was or what it was. And what's happening now, and I know this firsthand because I'm a volunteer with the Hispanic League, and we get calls left and right about everything going on in the city, about ICE, where they're at. I go into these neighborhoods. So what you guys are saying about guys jumping out in mass, my first thought is, yes, I'm getting robbed. You know, I actually stopped carrying my gun when I go into these neighborhoods to mentor these kids, because I have that in the back of my mind that something could go wrong if I get stopped, because they're stopping people out there left and right. And our sheriff's department, our police department are not helping. It's one of the counties and cities in North Carolina that said, no, we're not going to help. If somebody commits a crime, we're going to process them and we'll do that. But as far as their status in the country, we're not doing that. Now, another thing that a lot of people don't know, that they are taking away now, these people that they're grabbing now are people that are here legally. Okay? They don't have their citizenship yet, and they don't have what's called a green card, but they are here legally. They have been given permission. There's the DACA, all right? There's TPS. So DACA is Deferred Action for Childhood Status. TPS is Temporary Protection Status. And you also have the DREAM Act. That's for kids that came here before the age of 18. They have to prove that they either been working for 4 years, I believe, or they have 2 years of college, or they served in the military. So these people are here. This is why you hear of military personnel that have been deported. And I'm sure people go, well, wait a minute, if he served in the military, isn't he a citizen? No, he's not. All right, because these people under the temporary protection status and the DACA, they are allowed to work. They are allowed to join the military. All right, they come out, they still don't have that status. They still have to go to their appointments. They have to renew this status every year, and they pay a fee to renew that status. So it's money coming in. All right. So what happens? They just keep doing that every year and telling, yeah, well, we're looking into your case. We'll let you know when. And they never give them their full protection. They never give them the green card or the citizenship, the ability to become a citizen here. You know, I have a pet friend, and I've mentioned it before, personal friend who's a big guy here in the community, doing lots of great things for the community. He came here at 3 years old. He had no idea. All right. He's in college right now. His temporary protection status, actually, he's under the Dreamers, is supposed to renew July 1st. How far are we from July 1st right now? Normally, he gets his renewal status to pay that fee 3 months ahead. He has not gotten it. He works for Wells Fargo as a financial advisor, and they already told him, July 1st, you have to show us your renewal, because that renewal is also a work permit. He doesn't have that. He can't work. He doesn't have that. His status now officially becomes undocumented, and he's eligible to be deported. These are things that I think the general public does not know. They don't know how the system works. Everybody talks about, you know, well, they should do it the right way. They are trying to do it the right way. And they just prolong it for years. There are people that have been going through this status for 10 years, working here. This is their home. They have their houses. They might have their businesses or they're working somewhere for years. And now, because you need numbers, you know what? We're not renewing your status. Now you're undocumented. Now we're deporting you. And that's what's happened in our community. And that's what people are not seeing in general. It is so depressing. The phone calls we get, and luckily we have a good relationship, the Hispanic League, with the police department, the sheriff's department, because we will get calls, people saying, hey, there's a checkpoint going on, and it might be a DWI thing, nothing to do with ICE, so we have to calm people down and tell them. But people are afraid to go out now. I'm visiting these kids. Their parents are not coming out. They go to work, come back home. They're afraid. They're sending their kids out to do the shopping at the grocery store because they're afraid to go to the grocery store. And it's sad what's happening. To see what's going on in our community. And it's gonna start affecting everybody else. And I put something up on my Facebook. There was a raid here, Kings Mountain, North Carolina, at a factory, some type of warehouse. There's also American citizens in there, born white people. They got held for hours while ICE checked every single person in there. Hours past their work time. Went through all their stuff. And I think at the end, they ended up taking like 7 people, and there was over 100 employees in there.
No warrant?
What was that?
No warrant?
Apparently, they said they had a warrant to go into the business and check everybody. They ended up taking, I believe, 7 people away. But they held everybody. So it's starting to affect the general public. Now they're seeing, some of these people are going to start seeing firsthand what's going on. And you're going to get caught up in it.
Yep. Listen, I got two hands up, and we're going to the next video. We're going to the video, D. All right. So let me go with Melba and Rich.
Yeah. Cheech, you're absolutely right. And according to even the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement website, 287G is the program that they're authorizing these ICE officers. Allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly because they're hiding their face. There's no way, they're not wearing anything identifying them as any type of law enforcement officer. They're supposed to have their citizenship, a background check, and at least 2 years of law enforcement experience. But you also hear rumors of January 6ers being deputized to perform these roles. You can't, like I said, there's no identifying thing on them. And even according to their models that are on the website, they are not adhering to this because they have a jail enforcement, task enforcement, and a warrant enforcement model that they're supposed to be using these ICE raids for. Well, if you're not going into the jail, you're going into public school, that's outside of your scope. Task enforcement, even still, they're supposed to have a name and a warrant and a list that they're looking for those people. You just can't go in and randomly search brown people and seeing what pops up. And same thing with the warrant service, unless they're supposed to have authorization to go in if they have an administrative warrant. They're not doing warrants. They're just rounding up people, and it is racially based.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. You're pulling children. You're pulling adults. Like, on what planet are we on where we are separating these children, minors, from their parents, and they just ghost? Like, that would be neglect. If I walked out of my house and I didn't come back home and my children were here, I should be charged with neglect. So if you're going and you're snatching somebody's parent from the grocery store and you're not allowing them opportunity to have coverage for someone to take care of their children, then you're at fault for those children being left home alone like that. I mean, there's no where are the guardrails? And there are no guardrails on these ICE agents. And it's only a matter of time, and it's already started, to be honest, where they're just snatching anybody. And it seems the prerequisite for that is based on your phenotype, what you look like. So what does that mean for the Native American, right? Because a Native American looks anything from like me to Hispanic to white. So what does that mean? Who is not? The question is, if you're not blonde-haired and blue-eyed, which doesn't mean that you're a naturalized citizen, right? Because we do have some illegal aliens that are blonde-haired and blue-eyed from other places, besides, what are you looking for? It's racially biased and it's wrong, which is why they're also at the same time trying to roll back our civil rights protections, right? Because you can't do this action and have this other action open. So the war is going to be with this administration and its citizens. I'm not worried about Iran because I've got more to worry about here in the Americas. And at some point, this Gestapo nation is going to require all of us to walk around with some type of citizenship papers.
Okay. Listen, I got the two. Jim, you threw your hand up at the last minute. We're supposed to go to a video, but I got Rich, Jim, and D, I don't care who put their hand up. Video.
Hey, good afternoon again. Welcome to the police state. We're here. We've arrived. And unfortunately, the worst part of it is no accountability. These agents can act with impunity. And who are you going to call? Who are you going to report? There's no insignia. There's a mask. You can't even identify the person that grabbed you, manhandled you, threw you to the ground, and started punching you. I don't know if he's going to show that video of the the guy they recently took down, and they were just beating him. They said he swung a weed whacker at him. They always have some excuse, some lie. And his 3 sons are what, Marines? The other day, one person was going in for their appointment, and the person had to be escorted by his 2 sons that were national. I just lost the word. These guys were guardsmen, escorting their father to an appointment because they didn't want their father attacked. So we've gotten to the point. It's the police state. There's no accountability. Everything is being done based on a lie. This whole thing started. Oh, it's an invasion. I get to these special powers because I said there's exigent circumstance and there's an invasion. Everything is a lie. Everything you see is a lie. It's based on a lie. And when you catch them in a lie, they have to make up another one to cover that lie. Do you know what I mean? The guy who was mistakenly taken to the El Salvador prison, they eventually had to bring him back. The court said bring him back. But now they charged him with some crimes. That now he has to go to court to say, oh, no, I didn't do that. So this is where we're at. And it's a sad state. Our rights are being, our history is being eradicated, systematically. Our freedoms are being taken away. And I can't see it stopping. Because like I said, when police contact you, there's a badge number. There's a nameplate. There's an insignia. And you can fight back. You have your video. Oh, he did this to me. You got a video of a guy in a mask. Who is that? And all the stuff that they wear, you can buy online. So who knows who these people are? And there's no way you can go and say, hey, I want this person prosecuted because they abused my rights, or they kidnapped me, or they did this. Who? Who is it? Unknown. We have no way of tracking who's attacking you, who's harassing you, who's coming to your business, breaking into your church, your school where your child is graduating, and they're arresting the parents. It's just we've gone too far, and there's nobody to go to. The people are at the will of this Gestapo brown shirt, ridiculous, heavy-handed, over-the-top, abusive group of people that's supposed to be federal agents. They're not protecting and serving. They're only protecting and serving for that one orange guy, who's the biggest liar in chief. As an intelligence specialist, I was trained in bomb damage assessment. And I know I'm going a little left of this, but I'm looking at these pictures after they bombed the nuclear facility in Fedor. And based on my training, you got Trump lying, saying it's obliterated. And based on my training, look at the satellite photos and go, that's not obliterated. And besides, we don't even assess obliterate, something's obliterated. It's whether that particular facility can still function and what percentage of functionality does that facility have. That's what I was trained on. I looked at those pictures and it reminded me of, Iraq with the WMDs. Those pictures didn't show any WMDs to me, but that's what they showed the people, So there's so many lies, there's so many cover-ups, and there's nothing we can do about it. People march in the street, but what does that do? What's being done?
All right. Jim, and then D, with the first video which is jugging, right? Okay. You're on mute, Jim.
Unmute yourself.
How's that? Better? Okay. I'll just end it with this. The mask situation. I've dealt with ICE agents a couple of times, not many times, but ICE never wore masks. They never wore masks. They went on operations without masks. So why masks now? Well, you saw what I put in the chat. I really believe that. I really believe that there are hired, deputized, mercenary kind of people that are being hired on the QT to make these roundups. I mean, there are ICE agents. I'm not saying that they're all that way, but I'm saying those masks have a purpose, and that purpose is to actually hide who they really are. That's it.
Okay. D, we're gonna go with a video, and I may have to address something that's on here. But go ahead, D, with first video.
A wonderful segue into what was supposed to be our first video, and we talked about people covering their faces and approaching people. There's a new thing out called jugging. It's a take on mugging, and they're waiting for people to go to the bank, get their money out. They're following them until they feel like it's time, and then they're taking them off. Let's take a look so we can talk about it.
There's an alarming new crime trend from the state of Texas, which is now spreading really all across the Southeast, and police say it can happen in just a few seconds.
Jugging rhymes with mugging. It spread from Texas to South Carolina. Some police in small towns there weren't even sure what the word meant until the crime started happening in their own districts.
Derived from the term mugging, but since a mug holds less, a jug is make a bigger score.
This video is of a gunpoint robbery in Sherman Oaks, California. The customer throws his bag of $10,000 cash and the thieves take off. It's called bank jugging. Thieves watch you taking out money from the bank, follow you, and rob you. It can happen quickly anywhere at any time. In Austin, Texas, police report more than 60 cases in the first half of the year. And in California, police have noticed an uptick over the past few months.
Police say you can see a driver who had recently gotten money out of a Chase bank and came to this convenience store on Telephone Road. In just seconds, the 4Runner pulls up, followed by a white Chrysler. And men from the vehicles, two break out the windows on both sides of the victim's vehicle before reaching in and taking off with the cash.
And leaving envelopes stuffed with cash, or even putting it in a glove compartment. Nothing safe.
The day before, Houston police say this man took money from inside a vehicle at a car wash. When confronted by that vehicle's owner, the suspect showed a weapon before getting away with money also recently withdrawn from a bank.
In North Dallas, he backed his car in and then 3 armed men jump out of an SUV, run up, and start pointing their guns at him, even pounding on his window, demanding he give up the cash he has on him. In this case, their plan did not work because Mark kept his doors locked and managed to escape.
Investigators say 27-year-old Johnson and 31-year-old Davis Mitchell followed a bank customer who had just withdrawn $75,000. The constable talked with both victims today.
The wife is at home. She has a broken shoulder and some ribs. She has about a 6 to 8 week recovery process. They are very relieved to know that we got these individuals off the street.
About a week ago, this drugging incident took place. You can see the video. This man was followed back to his business and beaten and robbed in the middle of the afternoon.
Police say this is Farrell Dembry and 2 others committing a drugging at the Bank of America on Fallon Loop Road last month. A 4th suspect waited in the car. A repairman was working on the ATM at the time.
The suspects had, while he was working on the ATM, pulled up, forced him to the ground, told him to lay there, indicated that they had a weapon, said they would shoot him if he moved.
Dembry disabled a different ATM in St. Louis earlier in the day, triggering a call to the repairman. They then followed the repairman around to different jobs until they got to O'Fallon.
In the video, you can kind of see this guy sneaking around the cars, and he takes something out of your car. What did he take?
He took money. He took the money I just got out the bank, and it was deliberate.
And how much money was stolen from you?
$60,000. I was just trying to, have a little cash to kind of negotiate better and that type of thing. We're never expecting that it was all going to just disappear.
On February 13th, cameras showed the moment he attacked Trung, body slamming her to the ground and stealing her money. He followed her after she stopped by a bank and withdrew over $4,000 to pay for a family trip to Vietnam. The Houston woman's adjusting to having limited mobility, left paralyzed. 18-year-old Joseph Harrell pleaded guilty to aggravated robbery, causing serious bodily injury, and was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
Never heard of it. That's really ridiculous. And this is another reason why, because some of those guys look like ICE agents to me. I know we're not on ICE, but that's what they look like to me. But D and Cheech, go ahead.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Don. Thank you for saying it. There were 4 or 5 instances in there where I was going to stop it and then circle, especially the one with the guy laying there. Looked like he had a vest on and a mask. And I think it's important that we pay attention to, I don't know who's rolling up on me. I have no idea. Even if you have a police something and I might not see it. Here's the idea. There's a certain way law enforcement should be doing their jobs. What's going on, this ain't it. Because you're looking like the criminals. Look at the video we just showed. It was a wonderful, thank you, Jim. That's the way to start it out. They're looking exactly like the criminals. And I'm just going to say, if you're going to look like the criminals, you're going to be treated like the criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I saw, I don't know whether you were going to deal with Marcus's comment about when Cheech said he left his gun home. I scrolled past it, but that's Cheech's choice. He's got another job to do, and he doesn't want to deal with guns and shootouts while he's doing his job. You're going to run up on people who are not so diligent, and this is what's going to happen. I know. I as I'm walking around now, don't come up on me. Don't walk up to my door. Don't all of y'all don't come visit me. You better call first. Don't, cause I'm on 10 with it. Don't. I don't want anybody talking to me or touching me or approaching me because you don't know who it is, and that's the idiocy you're creating with this policy, with this federal agency. You're creating this. If you're worried about what's happening to your family, you don't want your identity, go work at McDonald's. I did it for 32 years. It's what it is. It's the part of the job. When we sign on the dotted line and raise our right hand, they're gonna see your face and they're gonna come after you. It should be in the preamble. We say, it's what it is. You don't get to hide your face. You don't get to hide. And here's the last thing I'm gonna say: you don't get to look like the criminals, because I don't know who the criminals are.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
See, that's what happened when you have controls. That's what happened when you have controls. You get anything pop up over here. Bad boys. Well, thank you for waking everybody up, D. Cheech.
Yeah, I was gonna say with as far as the repairman, I'm surprised he didn't have someone there with him. I used to do that for a company in New York on Long Island. We were on call, and whenever a repairman had to go to fix an ATM, we would meet him at the location and watch his back basically while he was repairing the machine, because they do open up the machine. There's access to all that cash while they're trying to repair it. So I'm surprised that repairman didn't have somebody there watching his back. D covered everything else. And Marcus, as far as me deciding not to carry my weapon into those areas, because I know what's going on over there right now, as I've always told everybody, without a uniform on, I'm still brown, but nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows what I've done with my life. I'm just another Latino on the streets. And if I'm in the Latino neighborhood, and I go a lot there, not just to mentor kids, I go to eat out there, because all those hole-in-the-wall little Spanish spots are the place to eat, So I'm around those neighborhoods. That's going to happen. I go into Hempstead, same thing. My firehouse is over there. I grew up over there, but nobody knows who I am. Nobody has no idea. So I tell everybody, at the end of the day, I'm just another Latino. So that's why I decide not to carry it, because I don't want to end up being another statistic or a sad story.
And Cheech, you're not the only one. There's a couple of people on this right now that don't carry a weapon as well. Tyrone, go ahead, man.
Yeah, you see, you're another Latino. Imagine if you had a gun. That makes you a dangerous Latino. Thank you, Don.
They're gonna find a gun before they find your ID, and you're gonna be in cuffs or maybe shot before they find your ID. Believe me.
And that's the fear. That's the danger that's going on right now. That's what we're dealing with right now, to where I don't know, I think who said it earlier, that it's going to be more of a war, like it's going to be more of a civil war than a war outside. It's going to be more of a civil war, to where we're going to look like idiots to the rest of the world, because we're going to have law enforcement killing law enforcement. That's what's going to happen if we keep going the way we're going.
We're going to look like the quote unquote third world countries that we talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely, Melba. Absolutely. D, you got another video for us? The body cam of the man in Baltimore.
Yeah, there was a shooting a little while ago in Baltimore. And we got to be careful. We want to point fingers. We want to blame before we get all the facts. And everybody's fighting for body cams. And I'm here to tell you, body cams don't help you, because this gentleman, the city of Baltimore, where I happened to be at the time, was up in arms. The police just shot this guy, and then the body cam came out. Let's take a look. Just a warning, it's coming. That's it.
What are you doing?
Line of fire, the kid. Look. Why are you walking into this room? Another view.
Damn. Yeah, that was a rough situation right there, y'all. That was that. I mean, at first when I saw the video, I'm like, well, why are these people putting themselves in so much danger? And now I can see they were all together, or look like a school dismissal or something like that. I mean, I don't know the story behind it, but D, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna give a little advice.
Please,
if we could. If your parents don't tell you this and your kids happen to catch this this broadcast somewhere, don't do that. I know your friend is hurt. I know you're upset, but the idea is to, and I'm gonna be very simple. When you hear explosions and gunshots and police are there, please go in the other direction. There's nothing positive that's gonna come out of that other than you possibly getting hurt. You're breaking the law.
Or arrested.
Yeah, that was the arrested part. You're breaking the law. Once those shots go off, that is a crime scene. Even if me as a law enforcement officer, I can't go in that crime scene unless I have business to be there. So we gotta, I know we're all emotional and our tempers get up, but we gotta know the rules. And safety should be the first rule. Protecting your liberty should be the second rule. And then I have a question, because in the beginning, you guys saw the way the crowd was. You would have thought There was an unarmed 12-year-old that got shot in the bathroom of school, the way they were acting. And then you see the video, and I have a question. What he's supposed to be able to shoot the police? He's supposed to be able to carry a gun? Is he supposed to be able to run away? After he is told to get down and fired upon and hit, he still went and got the gun a second time and aimed it at law enforcement officers, and he's surrounded on all sides. Forget the passion. This is why we are where we are with that first situation and now. I know how you feel, but for a minute, freak your feelings. There's a right way and a wrong way. We got to get back to teaching right and wrong. And parents, man, I was on a train full of kids last night, coming from New York City about 11 o'clock at night. And I guess they went to see some play in Madison Square Garden. Y'all got to have some serious conversations with your children. Behavior, it's not even behavior. I was trying to think of a word.
Manners, respect.
It's not even manners and respect. I had 2 little girls stand behind me because of what was going on in the train car. What is wrong with y'all? Sit down and wait till you get to your stop. I don't understand. They were banging on the top of the train, trying to bang on I'm like, the train had to stop in the tunnel and back up. What's wrong with y'all? For nothing other than attention. And that's what I think this is. This brought me back to that last night. These kids wanted attention. Oh, they're crying and screaming. Screaming about what? Let me help you. And I'm going to say the last thing, and then we're going to let Cheech go. You can't shoot. Okay, you can go. I'm sorry. But
I got a comment here.
You can't shoot the police unless you're licensed and legally able. You can't carry guns. If those 2 things that happen, I don't understand the passion. Right. I don't understand what you're upset about. I can't understand what you're hysterical about and why you would walk into the line of. I'm at home and I'm trying to get out the line of fire at home watching the video. You were walking in the line of fire.
Yeah.
What are children doing? And then when they don't come home, everybody's on the Channel 7 News. Come on, man. Come on. I'm sorry.
I'm just reading this, and I'm sorry, Rich. Marcus says, start with the PD, D-School. I mean, start where with the police? I mean, the guy has a gun. He's on the run. Obviously, they have more information than we've seen, but the guy has a gun. He's running. The guy is pointing the gun at the police. After being shot, he goes for the gun again. This was a real criminal. This guy could care less about anybody. And then now all his friends want to jump in like he's the victim. He's no victim here. You know, I mean, don't get this show twisted. We're upset with bad cops. Not good cops, not law enforcement. We don't have a problem with that at all. We don't have a problem with a blue uniform, a brown uniform, whatever police officers wear. We don't have a problem with police officers. We have a problem with bad police officers. But this right here, what were the police supposed to do? Just let him keep going with his gun? I don't understand that. So some of this stuff, you know, sometimes I wonder where people are coming from with this stuff. But go ahead, Cheech and Dave.
Yeah, D, Donald, you guys covered a lot that I wanted to say. I just want to add one more thing real quick. By them going towards the police, you are now delaying the aid to this person, because every officer is trained, no matter what the situation is, once it's under control, now you have to render aid, right? So by them coming there and going all over the scene and going after the officers, you're delaying that aid. If he have any chance of, if he's still breathing and living, you know, those first few minutes are very important. You got to start CPR right away to keep him going. So that's another reason you should not be getting involved. That's it.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. But then he says, after 30 cops fired upon him, don't get that twisted. Well, it's not twisted because first of all, if you counted 30, that means that you on the wrong show because there wasn't 30 cops there, but there was enough cops there, and maybe 30 rounds that was fired. But cops are not counting other rounds. Some cops don't even know how many rounds they fired off. You know, but the danger is still the danger. That's what we're talking about right now. And every cop saw the danger. Dave, AC, and Derek.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing when the cops get into a gunfight, everybody wants to run to the scene. But when some dumbass gangbanger is shooting up a goddamn corner, nobody's seen nothing, everybody scatters. Okay? And after shooting rounds, you don't count your shots. I was in one, and you ain't thinking about counting your damn shot. You're thinking about still standing on your feet and living. Okay? You ain't thinking about counting how many rounds did you fire? I don't know. Shit. And I had a 38. Come to find out, I fired 5. I didn't know. I thought I fired 2. Shit. But anyway, it's amazing, man. And then how many guys out there might have had guns that was trying to run up on them cops?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
How many of them? You had to watch their hands too. Shit.
Yeah, you said it, Dave.
Yeah. That's Baltimore, man. How many guys up there running them cops that might be strapped too? Shit. That's fucking Baltimore. We can't even go down there, and you can walk down there with a fucking bazooka and them motherfuckers ain't scared. Shit. I'm done.
I'm sorry. AC and Derek.
Good afternoon, all. First of all, it's tragic. I understand that from what I saw, it might have been a justified shooting. But any shooting and loss of life is tragic. I understand why they shot. There was deadly physical force being presented, and they were stopping deadly physical force. I definitely understand. I was afraid for the officer, all of them, but the officer in the orange, because he's gonna get shot. He's gonna get shot too by his own. He's in a crossfire. But I want to humanize the victim in the sense that not that he was doing right, but his friends were hurt because he was hurt. So I understand you're upset. That is not the response, though. You're not giving him help and wanting to fight the gun that shot him or the gun you thought that shot him is not going to help you as a person. You run up on a gun that you thought shot him, it's not helping you at all.
Right.
It's not doing anything for you. It's delaying service to help for him or anything else. Like I said, it's just not good.
And with that crowd, AC, someone could have taken that gun off the ground. You saw the gun was sitting on the ground.
That's why I was scared. Like, where's the gun? Your scene is messed up. Period. It's gone. But they could have took the body.
Yeah. I'm just gonna ignore the comments, y'all, because listen, I told you I wasn't gonna do it no more. I'm gonna ignore stupidity. All right, because unless you were in law enforcement, you have no clue what took place at that scene right there. And I'm telling you right now, I've never been in a shooting, and and my heart raced all through that video.
Also, I hope this doesn't affect Derek. At the beginning, that was obvious. They were looking for him, something that he was doing. He was ready to run out before they got there. It wasn't
back door was open.
Yeah, they wasn't just happening to bother somebody. They knew something about that person with the gun.
They knew he had a gun.
They knew something about him. If it was for the gun, for something else, or anything, they knew they was going for him for a reason. It wasn't like somebody was just bothering that guy.
Yeah, one other thing before I give it to Derek and then Mark, David Van Cleef. I'm with you, David Van Cleef. I'm surprised there weren't more people injured in that shootout as well. I'm totally surprised. And like AC said, including a police officer. But Derek and Mark.
Yeah, So for the people out there that have comments that obviously have no experience in police work, the entire reason that this show exists or originated was because there were things that were happening in our communities via police work that we didn't necessarily like. That being said, there are things that happen
this afternoon
that are supposed to happen based on what occurs prior to police responding that people may not like. That doesn't mean it isn't the right thing. None of these police officers used more force than was required. And again, for the people that don't know, there's what's called a use of force continuum. And deadly physical force is the top rung of the ladder in the use of force continuum. If someone is about to use deadly physical force or has the ability via a tool that they have or a weapon to use deadly physical force, then the police officers are justified in using deadly physical force. All of these guys are trained. They adhered to their training. Nobody went overboard. No one did anything they weren't supposed to do. And if this guy either didn't pull a gun out or would have put it down, things would have turned out different for him. That's what happens. If you have a bunch of cops coming after you and you pull out a gun, you get fucking killed. That's the likelihood of what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And this guy Diggs, I don't know what he did for a living or what he does for a living. Obviously, it's nothing along these lines. But whatever it is you do, hopefully your husband is very proud of you. That's all I have.
Did you say hopefully your husband is very proud of you?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Okay, I got you. I got you, Derek. All right. Mark.
Ouch. I just want to say, we often talk about how important it is for the police to have communities backing. And the police department cannot be effective without that. So in this instance, the community has to also show that they're not a bunch of jackasses and do stuff like this. Now, I know a lot of them are kids, but you know what? Running up on the scene when the police are involved and bullets are flying, bullets don't have a name on them. And if the police had dropped back and didn't shoot this guy, and this guy was able to get that gun, all right, what do you think would have happened? And if you running up to help him, and he might have shot you. But you showing how ignorant you guys are by running up in there wanting to fight the police and put your gun down. And listen, that's not helping, and it's not helping the victim. You know, and you guys got to think for yourselves. You guys got to grow up and do what's right, even for your friend. You may not even agree or understand what happened, but you're not helping your friend because now the police can't render aid. And I had a situation at a place where a guy got shot, and I'm trying to get information to try to get the guy who shot him. And these ignorant people walking around, oh, they won't tell me nothing. Oh, just take care of him. And they don't ask us nothing. And it was just like, you know what? After a while, if you're exposed to that as an officer, you know what? You guys don't care about the community. I don't care about the community. And you have to check yourself as an officer and say, you know what? That's not right. This is just a small group of a large community, and that large community cares. It's just the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 knuckleheads who make it bad for everybody else. So you want your police to work and respect the community. It has to go both ways. It's not just one way. That's it.
Absolutely, Mark. D, I want to skip the third one and go right to the fourth one because it keeps us moving real quick. The court officer stabbed officers.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
You go ahead. Go with the third one. Go with the third.
No, I got it.
I know you got it queued up.
I got the fourth one up. I got it up. We good. Okay. Let's go to our next video. This video's bringing us to New York City. Incident that occurred, I think, within the last couple of weeks. Let's take a look.
Those officers are doing this evening, Jay.
Oh, Candace, a veteran court officer telling me off camera that he's been on the job for a long time and only a handful of times he's heard 1013, an officer in serious distress, come over the radio. He knew it was something serious. The suspect in in a split second and without warning, surveillance video obtained by Pix 11 News shows how a routine Monday morning encounter at the metal detectors in the Manhattan Criminal Court lobby turned into a life-threatening attack on court officers by a single suspect armed with a knife. Chaos as the officers are under attack before reinforcements run over to the scene moments later. According to rank and file court officers who could not speak officially about this incident, the two officers involved in the encounter are, quote, unbelievably lucky and suffered knife slash wounds to the face and neck.
Oh yeah, I hear about everything. Yeah, man, it's crazy. The court, somebody do that, this is crazy.
The 37-year-old suspect, according to sources familiar with this ongoing investigation, is a known person who has more than a dozen prior arrests and who did not have a court case on the docket when he walked into the lobby Monday.
This happened so quickly, a blink of an eye.
Pat Cullen, president of the State Supreme Court Officers Association, blames the state unified court system for security shortfalls and not adequately staffing the courts.
This is on the heels of our union launching a advocacy campaign for the public to make them aware that failures by the management and administrators at the unified court system have led to this.
But a spokesperson for the state unified court system counters that uniformed supervisors are constantly reviewing and adjusting staffing levels when permissible under civil service laws and rules. Quote, over the last year and a half, the court system has graduated 4 court officer academy classes, totaling over 620 officers, with a 5th class of over 250 recruits scheduled to start at the end of this month. These new recruit numbers are extraordinarily high and without precedent. The suspect has not been identified, again undergoing a psychiatric evaluation at Bellevue. Charges pending. We're live outside Manhattan Criminal Court this evening. Jay Dow, Pix 11 News.
All right, to you, Jim.
Yeah, the getting information or cause and effect from a union representative is ridiculous. I mean, he's speaking as a union guy, not as somebody that's trying to help the situation. I don't know if they're understaffed or they're not understaffed, but I'm not listening to him. It seemed to me, watching the video, that guy had plenty of help pretty quick.
Real fast.
Real fast, and plenty of them. So I think that was just, I'm not blaming the press. They're going to put a microphone under anybody's mouth, but having the union make a statement like that about the department, quite frankly, I think is disgusting and not helpful.
Okay. All right. D and AC. And then we're going to start bringing it in, D.
Yeah. Well, I know we're coming to the end. Just really quick. I don't know whether I can say I have the fortunate, or the unfortunate luck to have worked in that building for 10 years. And you're walking amongst the criminals. I know we have this mindset, and nothing is 100%. And Cheech, you help me out. People make weapons out of anything. I know somebody that could cut you 2 ways from Sunday with these glasses here. I know him personally, and I'm like amazed every time I see him do it. It's anything that you have can be made into. We think knife. We think he got in there with a machete, and that's not what they got cut with. Let me speak to that court and those court officers. They're on 10 with it. They press a button and everybody runs. At one point, I'll even tell you me. I asked, well, why couldn't we get involved? We were in the building and we had nothing going on today. We'll get a buzzer in our office and we can slide down the corridor and get to the courtroom. They have a lot of help. Everybody's short-staffed. Let's not get caught up with that. Everybody all over the world is short-staffed. So let's not go to that like that's the thing. We don't have enough people. I mean, it's the nature of the beast. It's unfortunate that these law enforcement officers, these court officers, ended up getting injured. But they got the bad guy, and sometimes you get hurt. I've been hurt. One day we can discuss all my injuries. You get hurt on this job. I don't know why people think what the police job is. We're gonna go and we're gonna write ticket. No, that's not what happens. You get hurt. You get cut. You broken bones. I used to be handsome. My face got broken up one day. I used to be handsome. You know, you get broken up. That's the job, man. That is the job. And we're in this place where now Jim, you said it. The union guy talks. What is he talking about? Man, have a conversation about something that could really help us. You know, get more people. Well, they're trying. It's just what it is. If it's 5 of us in here, there's times where I myself had Nassau County. We were short-staffed one Christmas, and it was me. I went east, I went west, I went north, I went south. It's what it is. You gotta work with what you have and not always use it as an excuse. We never use it as an excuse. You gotta do the job. The court officers are great at their job. They do their job. Things fall through the cracks. People get through with weapons. At the end of the day, we had no loss of life. We had some injuries, and these guys lived to fight another day. And I would rather emphasize that than let's find out what all the problems are and then fix those and then give us 10 others.
All right, this is the list and we're done. Okay. AC, I know you said no, but you still have the opportunity to say what you want to say, AC. Cheech and Derek, and then that is it.
Okay. Quickly, I don't know why the story with the staffing has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with the person coming through, because whenever you get to the point of contact and check-in, you're still always there. You're still at the beginning, regardless how many cops you got working, how many cars you got working, you're still at the front. You can't get rid of your weapon before you get rid of your weapon. They can't search you before you get in, before you get to the first checkpoint. That's the first checkpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had 20 people working right there at that checkpoint, it still would have been at the checkpoint cutting people.
Mm-hmm.
There'd been more people to cut.
That's true.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay. Cheech and Derek.
Yeah, AC hit on what I want to say. Point of entry is the most dangerous in places like that, in courts, at a police station, at the jail, right? Because they have not been checked in yet. And you're trying to make sure they don't have any type of weapon, and people will get through with the stuff. At the jail, you had people with razor blades in their mouth, razor blades hidden in their hair. You know, we had drugs in places that you wouldn't imagine, right? I had to sit with one time at the hospital until it came out. Figure that one out. And he had syringes, cocaine, and heroin in there. All right. So point of entry is very dangerous in places where you know that you're getting some people that may not follow the law.
Hey, Cheech, too bad he didn't have a breech delivery, huh? Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, I agree with everything that everyone has said so far. Staffing was definitely not the issue. If there had been 10 cops right there, that means someone would have been closer for him to attack them. He wouldn't have had to go around the table. But, you get to the point where you have to empty your pockets and you go through the metal detector, and that's where he sprung into action. So it just happened to be at that point, and he made his decision. And fortunately, there were enough people that got there quickly enough that he was only able to slash, I think, 2 of them. But things didn't turn out nearly as badly as they could.
All right. Thank you guys so much. D, we have a good a video to go.
We always have a good guy video. Really quick. This will be a real quick one. Let's take a look.
This little girl's reaction when seeing her elderly neighbor and best friend is so adorable.
Like
the mom said their initial plan was to build on land with no neighbors in sight, but now they can't imagine leaving.
pictures.
Just want to say really quickly, racism is taught. We can think it on with this foolishness, it's taught. I see so many examples. We can talk offline about what I was going through last night. Racism is taught. These babies, these young babies, don't understand what they listen to their parents, and they're being pushed in that direction. It's not something that's inbred and inherent. And just like that video we saw with them kids, I don't have any kids, and I wish I had 20. I actually wouldn't be able to afford 20, but I would have tried. Man, have a conversation. All my nieces and nephews and my mentees and everybody, everything is a teaching moment. If they were sitting here right now, okay, look, see Miss Melba's face over there now. This is what she's trying to do. It's a teaching moment. We got to teach our kids. Don't just let them out there run crazy. We have to teach them from when they can hear your voice. Because right now I'll mention 63 years old. Dr. Julia Williams is sitting right on here on my shoulder. So anything that happens, you'll say, why does he do that? Because she's sitting right here. I can hear her voice as clear as if she was here. You parents got to get in your kids' heads so they don't run into the line of fire. They run to so many videos I got of them running to cops and wanting to be hugged by cops, and parents are, I don't understand why he does that. He's embarrassing me. But when he gets lost, where's he supposed to run? Where's his safety net supposed to be? That's all I got to say. It's taught. And if your child is acting a certain kind of way, it's because you taught him.
That's right. And listen.
Or you didn't teach him.
And that's teaching. because they're watching you and they're learning your bad behavior. So they're still being taught, whether you said something or you kept quiet. They're still learning from what they see in the household and with their parents. I always say that. I tell the church congregation, people are always watching you. They're always watching. How are you going to handle this? How are you going to handle that? They know maybe you're going through a trial and tribulation. How are you going to handle that? Is your God big enough? You still trust him now? You've been telling me to trust him. Do you still trust him? So there's a whole lot where people just sitting back, just watching to see how you're going to deal with situations. And I thank you guys for joining and being with us today. Thank you so much, Dee, for the technology, the background that we have, everything that's going on. We're still praying for those we called out earlier. We're praying for JT, you and your wife, Rich.
Thank you.
And your wife. You have 2 deaths, your brother-in-law and now your mother-in-law and your wife, Isabel. We're praying for Isabel, especially on today. We're praying for Cheech.
I just want to
and Anna. Let me finish calling the names. Okay. Call the names real fast. We're praying for Cheech and Anna. We're praying for Melba. And we're praying for Mark Matthews. Go ahead, Cheech. Rich.
Yeah, I just want to correct you. My brother-in-law had a massive heart attack.
Massive heart attack.
He lost his 22-year-old son 2 days later with a leukemia that came back. That's why he was at the hospital.
Yeah,
that's what happened. Yes. Okay. I just want to clear it up. He's doing good. He's doing good. But
well, listen. Thank you for that correction too, because I don't want to be putting someone there and they ain't there yet. But thank you for that, because it's still a rough time for your family. So we're still praying for your family.
And I thank everyone for your thoughts and prayers and your condolences. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And those on Facebook Live, we're praying for you as well. You're our family as well, so we're praying for you as well. Sometimes we don't know what you're going through, but thank you for being with us, and we're praying for you. Anybody else before we close? Reverend Camp, good to see you, man. Good to see Reverend Larry W. Camp, pastor of the Bethlehem Baptist Church, Brooklyn, New York, if you're looking for a place to worship. Amen.
Let him close us out. Let him close us out.
Reverend Camp, you've been summoned.
It's good to see you all. It is. Eternal God, we are thankful for life. And then we don't necessarily appreciate the struggles of it, but we're thankful that we'll be able to get through it. And thank you for sustaining us. And thank you for every family that's represented here, all of the prayers that are offered up, all of the transitions that take place in our lives that we never knew would take place. But we thank you for your sustaining power. We also would say to you, well, we don't understand everything that you do. We really don't. And then for us to be left here, to have to ponder and to wonder. But we thank you for your sustaining grace, and that you would take us through all of the situations that we go through. We believe in your power. We believe in your sustaining power, and we believe in your grace. And we believe also, Lord, that everything that takes place in cities, states, and the country worldwide, that everything is in your hands. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Those on Facebook Live, we'll see you next week if it's God's will. God bless you. Well, I'll get back to you on next week. God bless you.